49 between Bloomington and Rockford, Illinois, heading up to Stevens Point. I want to try to get there late this afternoon, early this evening, and stop for the night, and then get up tomorrow morning and drive the rest of the way up to Lake Superior in far northern Wisconsin. I want to be just east of Duluth, Minnesota. Trying to get to some cool weather. It has been hot and humid and fairly miserable in central and southern Illinois for the past many weeks, so I am definitely looking forward to some cool weather. Kind of driving in and out of the rain. Right now, had some more big thunderstorms come through this morning. Spent the weekend camping with some of my very best friends in the whole wide world down around Clinton, Illinois. Had just a wonderful weekend, man. Really appreciated seeing all you guys. It was a good weekend. Joe and Kamisha, and Greg and Brenda, Beth and Daryl, and Jim and Rhonda. Had a really good crowd. Friday night they brought some Monica's Pizza down. Beth and Daryl did. Thank you for that. So we got to have some Monica's Pizza, which is one of my favorites. And just had a really good weekend. Joe and Kamisha stayed last night, and then they got up early this morning and had to go to work. I was planning on just kind of bumming around. It's going to stop raining again. I was planning on just kind of bumming around the campsite this morning, having a leisurely morning, sitting in the chair, drinking some coffee, watching the sun come up. And then my buddy Joe gave me a heads up. He works for the railroad, maintains some tracks around central Illinois, so anytime there's going to be big weather, he gets an alert to get out and make sure there's no trees or anything like that down across the tracks and keep the trains from running. Anyway, he texted me and said big storm's coming in again, so I had to scramble and break camp and get everything put up, and I did just in time. I mean, literally, I pulled out of the campground just as it broke loose, and you know, the big storm gust winds came in, and man, it just started pounding away. So luckily by then I was rolling down the road, pretty much driving out of it now, but it's still scattered showers. So had another big storm yesterday, and it actually wrecked the awnings on a couple of trailers. I mean, they had a beautiful Airstream, even one of the higher end editions for Airstream. I can't imagine what that thing cost. And they weren't there. They lived in the area, I think, but they were gone and left their awnings out, and the wind got hold of it and busted up. Well, I think it just bent some of the support arms and stuff like that. But the big one was there was a
Watch out, construction on road ahead.
There was a camper there, and it had a big long awning, you know, so that the water would run off of it. It looked like it just collected so much water that eventually the weight of the water caused the bar that runs the length of it to snap. It bent. It just bent too, and then folded right down to the ground. So that's going to be messy for them. When I left today, they still had not fixed it. So not sure what they're going to do there, but they got to do some major work on that thing just to be able to get it on the road and get it out of that campground, get it home, or you know, wherever they can get it to repair it. So anyway, I guess the moral of that story is if you're going to be leaving for the day around here this time of year, you better put some hurricane straps on or bring your awnings in, because you never know when a big old storm is going to blow up and trash your stuff for you. So yeah, man, I just really enjoyed hanging out with my good friends this week. Some of these guys I've known since high school, like early high school. So been friends with them almost all my life. see them often enough anymore. I live down by St. Louis, and they're all in the central Illinois area, so gotta enjoy it when you can. Hopefully I'll see them again in a few months when I get back home and get up, do some more camping with them in my air-conditioned travel trailer. Getting up into some rolling country in Wisconsin here, starting to look kind of pretty, and the weather is better. It's sunny up here, 85 degrees, a little warmer than I wanted really, but I will deal with it. I'm about 70 miles south of Stevens Point, so I don't know, 30 miles so north of Madison, still traveling north on I-39. Here I'll take this as far as it goes and then get off on 51 north. So I'm about an hour and 15 minutes from stopping for the day, and get some rest. I'm tired. I got up early this morning, man. I got up at like 5:30 because I wanted to see my friends Joe and Kamisha one more time before they left for work. They ended up, I mentioned earlier, they ended up camping yesterday and last night, and then we're just going to drive from the campground to their jobs today. So, and they had to get up early for that, so I did too. Not really used to that, and I just didn't sleep worth a crap. You know how it is when you know you have to get up earlier than you usually do, and you don't want to not hear the alarm clock and all of that business. And it was pretty warm in the camper last night and humid. I felt like I was sleeping on damp sheets, which is not really conducive to a good sound night's sleep. So anyway, I'm going to turn the camera around here and maybe catch some video of some pretty Wisconsin hill country. Here we go. Well, I made it to Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Got here about 4 o'clock or so this afternoon. I'm actually a little north of Stevens Point at a place called something River. I'm by the Wisconsin River. It's a kind of a campground, resort, water park thing. Yeah, I'll post the name of it on here. I don't remember what it is right offhand, but anyway, it's all right. It's a pretty nice little camera. It's not so little actually. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of permanent or long-term RVs in here. People have big old decks built and all kinds of landscaping around and stuff like that. On one of the overnighter sites, but they got a big fake beach and stuff like that. I think they do tubing and that kind of stuff down the river. Getting up tomorrow, heading out to the National Forest up by Lake Superior, and I was looking at some of the campgrounds. There's actually a ton of campgrounds in this National Forest. There's a lot of little lakes and some that are a little larger lakes and so forth, but there's just a bunch of campgrounds, and I think I've narrowed it down to one or two that I want to stay at. I'm just going to chill out. I think I'll stay there until probably next Monday, and then start working my way west. So it was a pretty easy drive today. Not a whole lot of traffic. I drove through some rain early on, but finally got out of that. Not a whole lot of traffic until I got around Madison, and then well, actually it was closer to Rockford. Interstate 90 and maybe 94 or something joined up with I-39 from around Rockford until north of Madison, and it picked up a lot of truck traffic. Alright, man, I'm signing off for the day. I'm gonna finish my cold one here. Have a nice evening. Got my shower. I'm all clean. I'll chill out, get me a little fire going, mess with the dogs a little bit, and call it a day. See you tomorrow. Alright, man, it's about 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm back on the road, leaving this by the river campground, or whatever it's called that I stayed last night. Man, I had a wonderful night. The temperatures cooled down so much. It was mid-80s when I got here yesterday, but by 9:30 in the evening it had cooled down to like 71, and I had a little campfire going. I actually had to snuggle up to the campfire a little bit to keep from getting chilled, so that was a pleasant change of pace. But the camper was nice and cool inside, and I slept really well. I didn't have the windows open. Well, I had them cracked. I leave them cracked just to let some of the moisture out. But the fans weren't on, and I slept very well. So, feeling kind of energized. Today, got about 3.5–4 hours to get to the campground I'm wanting to go to today. Oh man, I got me a heck of a deal too at Gander Mountain. I'll tell you, sometimes crap just falls in your lap, you know. I forgot my hiking shoes. Of all the things to forget on this trip, I forgot my hiking shoes. I got a couple pair of Keens at home that I really like, and so I'm like, crap, you know. Spent half the weekend searching the internet, you know, trying to find another pair of Keens, and I got those Keens at Gander Mountain, at one of the Gander Mountains close to where I live, around St. Louis there. And so I'm just driving up the road this morning, and hadn't been driving for 10 or 15 minutes. Got to Wausau, Wisconsin, and what do I see? A Gander Mountain right off the interstate, right next to a BP station, and I needed to get gas anyhow. So I'm gonna pull off and get some gas. So I'll just run over to Gander Mountain and see what they got. Well, I do that, and sure enough, they got a pair of Keens there in my size. I ended up getting these shoes for just a little over 40 bucks for a pretty decent pair of Keen hikers. Got lucky. Filled my tank. back up, got me some hikers, went to Culver's for lunch because it was right there too. Got the tenderloin sandwich. Now my belly's full, my feet will be comfortable, and I got enough gas to get me to Duluth or somewhere when I'm done with this little camping thing and I start to head further west. So it's all good, man. What up, yo? I am at the Twin Lakes National Forest Campground somewhere in northwestern Wisconsin. I think Cable is the closest town, maybe I don't know, 30 miles south of Lake Superior, 20 miles, something like that, I don't know. Anyway, you know, I told you what good fortune I had this morning rolling down the road and just happened upon a gander mountain and able to pick up a decent pair of hiking shoes for like $40. Saved my butt because I forgot my good hiking shoes when I left the house. Well, that all went to crap. I mean, you know, the day was good, the driving was nice, all that was uneventful, but man, I gotta tell you, I'm really disappointed in my situation here right now. Apparently they have just had a crap load of rain up in this part of the state, and many of the roads are closed. A lot of the campgrounds are still underwater, or they're trashed from recent flooding. Anyway, the campground I really wanted to stay at is inaccessible. It's completely cut off, and my GPS, you know, I didn't know that. I actually went to the U.S. Forest Service district office in Rhinelander, and I bought one of those America the Beautiful passes, and I talked to the guy there, and he said, oh, yeah, they've had a lot of rain up there, but you'll be able to get into that campground. Wrong. You can't get into it. My GPS routed me around, took me way the hell out of the way to try to get me to the campground, coming in through another route, and I got there and that road was closed. And then I was talking to the guy that manages this campground. He said, well, that campground is closed, it's trashed, and it's going to be that way for quite some time, so even if the roads were okay, and there wouldn't have been any camping in there. So anyway, that's a bust. And I just got into the closest national forest campground that I could get into, given where I was when I discovered that the one I wanted to be in was a no-go. And this is a bigger campground. It's like 93 sites, so it's pretty. Most of the campgrounds around here are like 20 or 30 sites. They're small and remote and stuff. This one is actually a large one, and it's kind of commercial. They got a couple of lakes here, and they got a lot of, you know, lake activities and stuff like that. I had planned on staying the rest of the week up here through Sunday, and then starting to head west, but and I really wanted to see some things around Lake Superior. I've never been around Lake Superior, and I know there's a lot of beautiful stuff around here, but I think this whole freaking week's going to be a washout around here. I'm going to head out in the morning and maybe see if I can get up by Lake Superior so that I can at least see it and say that I've seen it, and then I'm just going to start heading west. And you know, the good news is I'll get to spend more time out in the mountains around Montana and Washington and all of that. Maybe even go up into Canada earlier and spend some more time in Canada. So, you know, I'll adjust. Part of the experience of traveling like this in an RV is, you know, you adjust, and you know, one thing's a bust, but that leads to something else that's really, really nice. So anyway, I'll hope to get back up in this area sometime in the future and get to see the Apostle Islands and some of the other things that I wanted to do while I'm up here. So, and the other thing is the freaking mosquitoes. I knew they were bad up here. I had a lot of people tell me, man, the mosquitoes are bad up in northern Wisconsin. Get ready for it. But with all of this rain, they have just exploded. I mean, I did not even get out of my car. I pulled into the campsite, and I no sooner got my car open and I was getting swarmed with them. They were just freaking waiting for me, and miserable. So anyway, I hosed myself down with but I don't know of any natural solutions. You know, they got the lemongrass and this, that, and everything, but I'm telling you, these things are way beyond that. You need an industrial strength solution. And in fact, the little bastards are hovering around me right now, seeking to exploit any millimeter of my skin that didn't get DEET on it. And I know that they're finding it. I can feel them landing on me once in a while, so I'm going to have to get out some of the other stuff that I brought with me and see if I can just keep them off. And I feel bad for the dogs. They're getting swarmed with them. They're going to get pretty eat up, but man, I don't know what you can do. So anyway, get me a fire going here in a little bit. It'll probably cool down when the sun goes down here, and maybe we'll have a nice evening and be able to keep the mosquitoes at bay and get some sleep tonight and get the hell out of here in the morning, and just see where I go from there. Well, a shame because it's beautiful, it's nice and green and lush, of course, because of all the rain. Ironically. Anyway, I'll make the best of it.